A Florida woman attacked a Florida man with a garden hoe for not hanging out with her. A Florida biker attacked another Florida biker with explosives at a Jimmy John's. A Florida man shot up some tourists thinking that they were Palestinians. And a drunk Florida man hits a pole and then sits outside of a 7-Eleven without pants. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, and they all are from, coincidentally, Florida, because on Friday I only do weird news from Florida. It's Florida Friday on Weird AF News. Can't wait. A Florida woman attacked a man with a garden hoe after plans to hang out fell through. This is the opposite of me. When someone cancels plans with me, I'm usually very happy because there's stuff I'd rather do than get together on most occasions. We have here a Polk County, Florida woman accused of attacking a man with a garden hoe after the two were planning to hang out earlier in the evening. So a Florida hoe damages a Florida man with a hoe. More at 11. I'm starting to think I know why this very nice Florida man canceled plans with her, but let's keep reading and find out if she's actually a quality citizen. I don't want to prejudge Melanie Davis, age 47. She was unhappy, Melanie, that the victim, this Florida man, canceled plans with her. So what did she do? She went to his home around 3 a.m. on Tuesday and yelled at him from the outside of the home. Investigators said she wasn't done there. She then climbed the fence into the Florida man's property and pushed through his door before punching him. Wow. Melanie, she's not going to take no for an answer, all right? She wants someone to love her. She's had a tough start of the year, as many of us has. Her car was towed. Then she was working at the local fast food place. Someone threw an alligator through the drive-through window that landed on her chest. She's just going through some stuff right now and just wants to hang out. What's so bad about that? All right, according to the arrest report, after Melanie punched the man for not hanging out with her, she then allegedly grabbed a garden hoe and began hitting him with it, causing a serious laceration to his arm. Where did she get this garden hoe? It's just hanging out in his kitchen? Did she show up with the garden hoe? Was this premeditated hoeing? So many questions. They don't give me a lot of information. It just says the victim was taken to the hospital and treated, and Melanie was taken to the Polk County Jail. Now, they have Melanie's dating profile here. She looks like she's not the kind of woman that's going to allow you to get away. It says Melanie is very intimate with the police. She's been arrested in Polk County 28 times in the last 28 years. Can you imagine? She's 28 for 28. I guess she was due for her annual trip to jail. She wanted to punch that jail card again. She's got some frequent customer rewards, such as, after you go to jail 10 times, then you start to get your own toilet. And there's some others that I could make up. Hopefully they hold on to her this time because Melanie can't seem to behave herself. Among other charges, it says aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. So in case you're wondering if you can just attack somebody with some garden implements and it won't be counted as deadly weaponry, well, you be wrong. Don't you want somebody to hoe? Don't you need somebody to hoe? Oh, better find somebody to hoe. A Florida man, who's also an outlaw biker, attacks with an explosive device at a Jimmy John's restaurant. In a scene out of Hunter S. Thompson's book, Hell's Angels, the Fort Walton Beach area witnessed what appears to be a battle of biker gangs. I've actually read Hell's Angels. Great book. I'm a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson. May he rest in peace. Dr. Gonzo. And if you haven't seen some of the movies about him, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, you are really missing out. Let's get some details on what happened in Okaloosa County. The deputies arrested an alleged member of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. His name is Gregory. The Florida man is charged with a litany of crimes, including throwing a destructive explosive device, brandishing a weapon, and criminal mischief. Oh, these biker gangs always getting into mischief. It all began when Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputies were on their way to a call at the Harley-Davidson motorcycle dealership. On their way to the dealership, employees at the Jimmy John's sandwich shop on the street flagged them down to ask for help. They told the deputies that someone had thrown an explosive device into their sandwich shop and it exploded inside the restaurant. The explosion broke several windows in the Jimmy John's, causing about $5,000 in damage and causing some small injuries via flying glass to one employee of the sandwich shop. How's that for a day? You're working at Jimmy John's. All you're trying to do is provide the community with some quality sandwiches. You know, you're putting roast beef and lettuce and tomato. And, I like those yellow chili pepper things. Those are very, very good. I usually get those on my sandwich. What are they called? Chili peppers. Jonesy chili peppers. No, they got a specific name. Anyways, this employee doesn't expect to be hit with an explosive device while making some sandwiches behind a little spit guard. So then the police decided to speak with another motorcycle gang, local gang called the Pagans, the Pagan Motorcycle Club. You've heard of them. Now, according to this horde of outlaw bikers, the Florida man Gregory arrived at the Harley dealership in a silver sedan and pointed a gun at them. Yeah, that's just like motorcycle gang behavior, right? They're the enemies. As he drove away, the members of the club say that the Florida man Gregory threw an explosive device out of his window at them. So I guess the explosive device missed the Pagans and landed inside Jimmy John's. Wow, you can't really script these things. Soon after the sheriff's deputies arrived on the scene, the Florida man, Gregory, a Pensacola resident, was seen driving a silver Subaru on the boulevard. It's a strange mode of transportation for an outlaw renegade biker. The Subaru. He was probably getting a lot of crap for driving the Subaru by the gang, right? The Pagans are probably making fun of him. Nice Subaru, loser. What do you Subaru outlaw? What do you drive the same car as my therapist, loser. And then, of course, he's going to point a gun and throw an explosive device because, that's not typical behavior of a Subaru driver. That's really surprising. A deputy started a traffic stop at this location, according to the report, and Gregory was detained without an incident. As deputies approached the Subaru to detain the Florida man, they noticed an Outlaws Motorcycle Club vest, guns, and what they believe to be stick grenades, and what the arrest report calls an M-type explosive device, which has a similar description to a pipe bomb. So Gregory, the outlaws, driving around with armaments inside his little Subaru. The Pagans and the Outlaws, turns out, are considered part of the Big Four outlaw motorcycle gangs or clubs, along with the Hells Angels and the Banditos. Oh, wow, I didn't know this is the Big Four. Look at what we're learning here, guys, the Big Four. I didn't know there was really too many outside of the Hells Angels. You don't really see motorcycle gangs the way that you used to, at least from what I learned in books and movies. But they're still out there, guys. They're just a little undercover. They're driving Subarus and Kia Sorentos. Earlier this year, the United States Attorney Office for the Western District of Missouri indicted 18 members of the Pagans for armed attacks against other outlaw motorcycle club members. Well, so it's still very active, and it's an ongoing spat, it would seem. If I was going to start a motorcycle club, I would call us the Podcasters, and you'd have to have a podcast to be in my motorcycle club.
Your data is like gold to hackers. They're selling your passwords, bank details, and private messages. McAfee helps stop them. Secure VPN keeps your online activity private. AI-powered text scam detector spots phishing attempts instantly. And with award-winning antivirus, you get top-tier hacker protection. Plus, you'll get up to $2 million in identity theft coverage, all for just $39.99 for your first year. Visit McAfee.com. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
A Jewish Florida man mistakes two Israeli tourists for Palestinians and then opens fire on them in Miami. Well, in his defense, this is how they say hello in Florida. Everybody knows that. They just blast away. So I started blasting just to welcome them to Miami Beach. A Jewish Florida man in Miami is facing charges of attempted murder following accusations that he opened fire on two men that he believed were Palestinians, but reportedly turned out to be Israeli visitors. All right. It's so sad to see this happening on American soil. I know it's happening in the Middle East, and it's just horrible. Imagine here. And another responsible American gun owner. It's almost like there's some sort of correlation between hatred and dumb. You ever notice that? You got like armed individuals who are like, oh my God, a brown person. This brown person bothers me. Acting all funny, these brown people walking down the sidewalk minding their own business. So, I got to shoot him up, obviously. I mean, how do you even know what they are? I mean, it could have been 2 Puerto Ricans, all right? Or Cubans. There's a lot of Cubans in Florida. You know, this is just out of control. It really is. I'm trying to make light of this and make it funny, but man, it's a real uphill battle when you have this sort of hatred going on still. Now, according to the arrest documents, at 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, surveillance video appeared to show Mordecai Braffman, age 27, get out of his truck and open fire with a semi-automatic handgun at a vehicle as it passed. This guy, Mordecai, the Florida man, allegedly fired 17 times, striking one victim in the left shoulder and grazing the other's left forearm. Wow, imagine just unloading an entire clip on a car. While in custody, the Florida man spontaneously told detectives that while he was driving his truck, quote, he saw 2 Palestinians and shot and killed both. Law enforcement officials did not confirm if the victims were in fact Palestinians. One media outlet reported that they were actually 2 vacationing Israelis. Their names are, one of them's named Ari and his father. So, good job, bro. You shot at your own people. So, not that it's okay to shoot at anybody, but you're super dumb. Just super dumb. It says here, as of Monday afternoon, the Florida man, Braffman, was being held at the Miami-Dade Correctional Center on 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. Attempted. Also, thankfully, these gentlemen lived through the incident, despite having 17 rounds go into their car. This article says, further complicating the entire incident, one of the shot men reportedly posted on social media after the shooting saying, "Death to the Arabs." All right. Well, nice to know that you used an incident of your own people shooting at you to post about death to Arabs. This is all so crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. The fact that you didn't use the incident to post about, like, hey, let's talk about gun violence, or let's talk about, some gun control in Florida, maybe, shall we? These people are visiting Florida, just get randomly shot at, and then they use the moment to say death to all Arabs. It's just so, wow. I mean, this is dumb on both sides of the court. And what's even more sad is that Jews and Palestinians are actually genetically related, right? If you go back far enough. So this is basically one big family spat with rockets. Wow. And it says here the Florida man will be appearing in court on these charges of attempted murder, she wrote. And I'm sure he'll be offered a prestigious position in the White House somewhere. A Florida man hits a pole and then sits outside of a 7-Eleven with no pants on. All right, you're going to have to be more specific because this sort of incident happens like 6 times in Florida every damn week, it would seem. The article says if you get arrested for DUI outside of a 7-Eleven without any pants on, then it might be time to make a few life changes. One Florida man crashed into a pole with his vehicle outside of a gas station. He was so drunk he didn't even remember doing it. Dad, is that you? We have here 24-year-old Florida man Bonifacio Tiburcio Manuel. He left a party and then headed to a gas station for more alcohol and then woke up behind bars. The police officers responded to the scene after this man hit a concrete pole in front of a 7-Eleven. Dang, it sounds like I must have missed the party of the year. Bonifacio knew about it. He didn't want to stop partying. He's like, I'm going to go for a beer run. Without pants, apparently. As police officers approached the wrecked blue Ford sedan, they noticed that Bonifacio was sitting in the driver's seat without any pants on. His wet pants were in the passenger seat beside 2 empty beer cans. Wow, got a lot of questions here. I mean, this Florida man either A, was partying without his pants on and then went out for a beer run and brought his pants with him, or he got in the car to make a drunken beer run and then realized that the pants were constricting him and took them off while driving, put him in the passenger seat. Or maybe you have a third option in your imagination that you want to enjoy. You can run with that. As the police officers approached the Ford, they asked him for his license. He provided a Mexican ID. Turns out that Bonifacio has never been issued a driver's license. What a surprise. A Florida man driving around without a license? Upon exiting the vehicle, the Florida man Bonifacio could not stand up on his own. He admitted to drinking a bit, didn't say how much. He was out getting alcohol from the 7-Eleven on the way home from a party and didn't remember even wrecking his car. We just call that Florida man living his best life ever. Bonifacio refused to perform field sobriety tests but provided some breath samples, and they clocked in pretty high, well over the legal amount. The Florida man was obviously smashed, or in Boston, as we say, wicked cocked. Bonifacio, the Florida man, upstanding citizen, was arrested on charges of DUI, driving under influence, and not having a driver's license. Well, at least he didn't get charged for going into the 7-Eleven without pants on, because they have very strict rules in there. No pants, no service. So it's nice to see Florida man obey one law.
Oh, Pod Daddy.
When you check out at the pharmacy, you see the journey from idea to medicine, thanks to our intellectual property system, or IP for short. IP safeguards inventions, like a new way to prevent seizures or lower cholesterol. And IP supports competition from other brands, then lower cost generics, which are 90% of prescriptions filled in the US. Innovation, competition, lower costs, thanks to IP. Learn more at phrma.org/IP works wonders.
Good luck with your life, man.
Hello, you lovely people, my supportive listeners of the show, my loyal listeners. Thank you for spending another episode of Florida Friday with me, and thank you if you happen to be one of those generous individuals, very supportive individuals that emailed me a Florida man story in the past couple days. You can always send me things to funnyjones@gmail.com. Email me and tell me when your birthday is. I want to give a shout out to a listener from Delaware, a young listener. I don't get a lot of young listeners, but this listener's name is Braden from Delaware. Asked that I gave a shout out. Braden's having a tough time at school. Other kids giving him a hard time. And so we want to buck up Braden and give Braden a shout out on Weird AF News and say, don't let that get you down, brother. I was picked on at school as well because I was short. Short guys always get picked on. And it's sometimes into adulthood as well. Like I still occasionally get made fun of for being short. Now I managed to transform that into comedy. I do a really good joke about being a short guy. I also do a joke about my nut allergy. I sort of transform, and maybe this is a lesson for you, Braden. Is sometimes you could transform your problems into comedy or something else, or art. Art's great, to express yourself. It's a great way to express yourself. I also journal quite a bit, write my worries in there and my concerns, but I also, and then I try to write positive things too. Like I'll occasionally make a list when I'm feeling down, like what am I grateful for? And then I'll start with 5, and the next thing I got 10, then I got 20 things, and then I look at that list and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I feel like, hey, these are the things in my life that are going pretty good, and that makes me feel better. I mean, you can always look at the glass half full as well. You can look at the glass half empty, but it's kind of a choice anyways. And if you're having a real serious problem, then, obviously you should speak to your family about it, or, maybe there's a professional person. I can't really give too much advice on here without getting in trouble, I think, but just let you know that I'm glad that you find some relief with my podcast. I'm really happy that people that have tough times, and I've gotten so many, and that's the other thing, Braden, is I've gotten a lot of emails the beginning of 2025 of people having a rough year so far, and that they're getting a lot of joy out of my podcast. So you're not alone, brother. A lot of people out there having a tough time. So I'm just happy I can provide this podcast and bring some people some distraction from everyday life and their problems. And it's definitely a lot better than listening to the mainstream news, which is really, really, really depressing. So that's what we're doing here at Weird AF News, and I'll continue to do that. Anyways, I hope you have a great weekend. And everyone out there, I hope you have an amazing weekend, or maybe you had one already if you're listening to this on Monday. And good luck with your life, man.